mind, Commander Spock? Oh, look at me. Look at me.
You're black on one side and white on the other.
I am black on the right side.
Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76, Entertainment and Media. First of all, please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. If you want to make a donation to the channel, that information is below in the description box. And also, please consider joining the Big Words LLC Newsletter, as I am a writer, in addition to being a YouTube content creator. Well, this is going to be a bit of a retrospective on one of the many classic episodes of the original Star Trek series back in the 1960s, with the original cast when they were first starting out. And I think the 5-year mission only equated to 3 seasons on television. And I thought this would be a good video to make, especially in this era where good quality storytelling seems to be compromised for specific social messages and narratives. And I think it's fitting that we're going back to the original Gene Roddenberry series, because when Gene Roddenberry, legend has it, when Gene Roddenberry created Star Trek, he wanted to make a science fiction series, but he also wanted it to be a commentary on our world and the issues of the times. And in those times, in the 1960s, that was the civil rights era, and there was still a lot of racial unrest and a lot of racial injustice going on during that time.
Raided our homes, tore us from our families, herded us together like cattle, and then sold us as slaves.
They were savages, Captain. We took them into our hearts, our homes. We educated them.
Yes, just education enough to serve the master race.
You were the product of our love.
So, one of my favorite episodes of the original Star Trek series was entitled Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. Now, even though I was born in the mid-70s, as I was coming of age in the 80s, those original Star Trek episodes were in syndication and they were playing regularly. And also, I grew up on the Kirk, Spock, McCoy movies. So Star Trek, the motion picture, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. So I grew up on all that. I watched those all the time, and I got to the point where I even knew many of the lines by heart. But there were many memorable episodes from the original series. And as a Trekkie myself, Dr. Dunbar is a Trekkie, I may do several of these. But one of the episodes that I remember the most was episode 15 from season 3, and that was entitled Let That Be Your Last Battlefield.
Fascinating. 2 irrevocably hostile humanoids.
Disgusting is what I call them.
That description is not scientifically accurate.
In hindsight, looking back at it, and I didn't really understand the depth of the episode when I first saw it as a middle schooler. I think I was probably in middle school, or even below middle school in elementary school when I first saw that. But that episode was a commentary on race and race relations, and warring and quarreling between different ethnic groups. Before shooting this video, I was thinking that it was It could be seen as a commentary on civil rights and the history of black people and white people in the United States. It could be seen as a commentary on Nazi Germany. It could be seen as a commentary on the the Israel-Palestine conflict, which has gone on for years and years and years. It could be seen through many lenses, but I think Gene Roddenberry meant for that to be a commentary on civil rights and the contentious relationship between white America and black America during those years.
Captain, I led revolutionaries, not criminals. I demand political asylum. This ship is a sanctuary.
Captain, it is imperative that you return Lokai to Sharon for judgment.
The episode, in addition to the original crew, it featured Frank Gorshin. Many of you know Frank Gorshin as the Riddler from the Adam West, Burt Ward Batman series. He played Commissioner Beale, and Lou Antonio played Lokai. Not Loki from Marvel, but Lokai. And so the way the show unfolds, the Enterprise, the crew of the Enterprise, they, if I recall correctly, they come upon Lokai. I think Lokai is running, and they rescue him. He boards the Enterprise, and then another ship approaches the Enterprise, and then it explodes, and then the traveler on that ship appears on the bridge.
Well, Lokai, it's a pleasure to see you again. This time I'm sure our joining will be of a more permanent nature.
So instantly what you see is that Lokai, who they initially pick up, he is, I believe, black on his left side and white on his right side. And Commissioner Beale is black on his right side but white on his left side. So they're two different races of beings, and they've been entrenched in a conflict going back many, many years.
Commissioner, perhaps the experience of my own planet Vulcan may set an example of some value to you. Vulcan was in danger of being destroyed by the same conditions and characteristics which threatened to destroy Charon. We were once a people.
So Beale and Lokai, they come from the planet Charon, and Commissioner Beale's people, they kind of represent, well, the descendants of the colonists in the United States. They've had power, and they've slowly started to grant rights to Lokai's people, who you could argue that his people are analogous to the descendants of slaves in the United States. And so when you listen to the dialogue, that's what plays out. You know, there's a scene where Commissioner Beale says, "Look, we've made allowances for change. Change is happening. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to give the system time to work." And Lokai responds, "You know, you've denied our human rights. You've denied us as citizens. You've denied us as beings. There's only so much a race of people can take before we have to retaliate to win and secure and establish our rights."
There is an order in things. He asks for utopia in a day. It can't be done.
Not in a day. And not in 10 times 10,000 years by your thinking.
And it turns out that Lokai, it seems, was a bit of a terrorist. So he was responsible for perpetrating acts of violence against Beale's people, and he became a bit of a criminal. And Beale's been chasing him across the galaxy for years and years and years, and now they finally he's gotten close to capturing his prisoner on the Enterprise, and he just needs Captain Kirk and the Federation to hand Lokai over so he can take him back to Sharon for justice. But based upon how the Federation's charter and their laws are set up, Kirk can't just give him over to Commissioner Beale. So you get this series of events where Beale tries to take over the Enterprise, and he does, and Kirk activates the self-destruct, scaring Beale to release it, and then Beale, towards the end, deactivates the self-destruct, fries all the circuitry, takes over the Enterprise, and sets a course back to Sharon for the final act of the TV show.
Same filthy little plotter of ruin. You vicious subverter of every decent thought. Oh, you're coming back to pay for your crimes!
I know you, and all those with whom you are plotting to take power permanently. When I return to Sharon, you...
So throughout the show, there are numerous quarrels between Lokai and Beale, both trying to seduce the crew of the Enterprise to their side. I have vivid memories of that scene where they lock arms and they both start glowing red. And there are scenes where the crew of the Enterprise are listening to both sides make their argument, and they're trying to stay neutral. And at one point, Kirk, Spock, and Mr. Scott are sitting and talking to Beale, and they can't see how the two men are very different, aside from the fact that their colors are inverted. But Beale insists that they are, in fact, different races. And again, that's said about the races on the planet Earth. We're all genetically the same, and we can all intermingle and reproduce, but yet we're all different races.
Remember, Captain, political censure is my right. I am your prisoner. Honor that right, or the fight will go on and your ship will burn up.
The final act of the show is very sobering. The Enterprise arrives in orbit of the planet Sharon, and it's determined that there's no more life on the planet. There are no life signs. And the crew of the Enterprise comes to the conclusion that both sides, both Beale's people and both Lokai's people, they fought so much down to the bitter end that they've rendered everyone extinct. So, overcome by grief, Lokai runs down to the transporter room first, and they show halfway images of a civilization burning. And then Beale can't let Lokai get away, so he chases him down to the transporter room, once again showing those partial images of a society burning. And as you're watching that, you're thinking, wow, their entire world, their entire species, they fought and fought and fought just to kill each other off. And these two men are beaming down there for what? To kill each other off along with everyone else? What are they going to do down there? So Spock confirms the transporter just beamed down one person, and then a few minutes later the transporter just beamed down another person. And as the Enterprise leaves orbit, they're left to speculate on Beale and Lokai and their planet and the totality and the entirety of what happened. And it was actually pretty sad. It was actually pretty sad what happened, but it was a commentary, or it was a take on what could happen if a species of people or a population of people can't put their swords down, negotiate, and come to some sort of peaceful coexistence.
You repaid us with murder.
Why should a slave show mercy to the enslaver?
Slaves. That was changed thousands of years ago. You were freed.
Freed? Were we free to be men? Free to be husbands and fathers?
So that's what I think that episode was about. I think it said a lot. I think it was speaking to quite a bit. And it goes back to, at some point, can a population of people based upon race, can they eventually come together and stop the fighting and stop discriminating against one another? Can that happen, or is it in our nature to continue to fight and quarrel and kill each other down to the bitter end? And again, that goes for race, it goes for ethnic groups, it goes for even whole countries of people. Today, you could also arguably throw in gender. When is enough? When is enough too much? And I think that's what that episode, I think that's what the writers of that episode were trying to say. And I think that was a part of Gene Roddenberry's overall vision. And I think the acting, in addition to the acting of the cast and crew of the Enterprise, I thought that the acting by Frank Gorshin and Lou Antonio was stellar. I remember that episode years later, and it's still vivid in my mind.
Free to live our lives in equality and dignity.
Yes, you were free if you knew how to use your freedom. You were free enough to slaughter and to burn all the things that had been built.
I tried to break the chains of 100 million people. My only crime is that I failed. To that I do plead guilty.
There is an order in things.
Now, I do have other favorite episodes from the original series, and I will in all likelihood create content on those, interspersed in the other entertainment and media content that I generate on this channel. I'm thinking specifically about the Planet Eater. That was one of my favorite episodes, and I've watched that one numerous times on YouTube, so I may do something on that at some point, but I just wanted to create something on this episode focusing on Beale and Lokai and race relations and eternal warring between races and cultures. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you have a favorite episode of the original Star Trek series? If you watched it, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to throw something in the tip jar, that information is below in the comment section as well. And also, please consider joining the Big Words LLC Newsletter. In addition to being a YouTube content creator, I am also a writer with 2 blogs and a book project in the works. All right, everyone. Stay healthy out there. Live long and prosper. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.
I fail to see the significant difference.
Lokai is white on the right side. All of his people are white on the right side.